The chandelier cast flickering shadows on the mahogany table as laughter ricocheted off the high ceilings. Ornate walls seemed to listen intently, painted cherubs frozen in amused approval. Vittorio Castellani raised his glass, his voice a thunderclap over the noise. "To the Castellani Empire, stronger than ever!" The room erupted in cheers, but Luca's hand trembled slightly as he lifted his own glass. His dark eyes darted toward his father, then the poisoned wine swirling within his goblet. "Father," Luca said, his voice as smooth as the silk lining of his tailored suit, "may you always be the pillar of our family." Don Vittorio beamed. "That's my boy." Moments later, the patriarch's laughter turned to choking gasps. The music stopped. Crystal glasses slipped from hands, shattering like fragile dreams. Luca's face betrayed no emotion, but his clenched fists trembled at his sides. "What's happening?" Elena, the youngest Castellani, screamed. Vittorio's broad frame collapsed onto the table, sending silverware clattering. Gasps echoed as family members rushed to his side, but it was too late. His glass, now empty, rolled ominously, spilling its final drops into the tablecloth. The funeral, held days later, was drenched in somber rain. Luca stood stoically, the cold seeping into his bones. But his thoughts were ablaze. He'd done what was necessary, hadn't he? Wasn't it for the family? But whispers began that very night. First, faint, barely audible through the creaking mansion. Then louder, clearer. "Why, Luca?" The voice was unmistakable. It was his father's. "Did you hear that?" Luca whispered to Elena during dinner the next evening. "Hear what?" she replied, glancing nervously at the grand chandelier above them. "A voice," Luca muttered, eyes scanning the shadows. Elena placed her fork down, her face pale. "Don't joke like that. This house already feels haunted." By the third night, it wasn't just whispers. Doors slammed shut on their own, family portraits fell from walls, and the once lively dining room was now a chamber of fear. "It's him!" Antonio the eldest shouted as his drink spilled from his shaking hand. "Father's spirit won't rest until justice is served." "Don't be ridiculous," Luca snapped, though his voice lacked its usual authority. "It's the wind." But deep inside, Luca knew better. One by one, the family dwindled. Antonio was found lifeless in the garden, his hand clutching the very dagger he'd once used to silence an informant. Elena disappeared into her room, only for her screams to echo through the mansion hours later. Luca roamed the halls, his nerves frayed. He couldn't leave. The mansion held him captive. Every door led back inside. And then one night, as he stood before his father's portrait, it happened. "Luca," the voice rasped behind him. He spun around, his breath caught. Vittorio's figure loomed, a translucent specter, his eyes burning with an unearthly glow. "Father," Luca stammered, his knees buckling. "Did you think betrayal would go unpunished?" Vittorio's voice reverberated through the room, a symphony of rage and sorrow. "This is getting wild." Luca sank to his knees, trembling. "I did it for us, for the family. You wouldn't understand." "Your hunger for power will destroy you," the specter warned, "and you will pay for your sins, one soul at a time." The shadows seemed to close in, and Luca's scream echoed endlessly in the haunted mansion. Luca's scream dissipated into the oppressive silence of the Castellani mansion. The walls seemed to breathe, the air thick and unrelenting. He staggered to his feet, his mind racing. Was this punishment truly real, or had guilt driven him to madness? He stumbled into the study, slamming the heavy oak doors shut behind him. The scent of leather-bound books and cigars lingered, a faint echo of his father's presence. "Think, Luca, think," he whispered to himself, pacing the room. "You're the head of this family now. You control your fate." But even as the words left his lips, he knew they rang hollow. A sudden chill ran through the room, extinguishing the flickering fire in the hearth. "Still running, my son?" Vittorio's voice emerged again, calm but laced with accusation. Luca whipped around, his chest heaving. What do you want from me? The specter appeared once more, hovering just beyond the dim light of the chandelier. Vittoria's figure was more vivid this time, his stern face twisted with both sorrow and anger. You'll understand soon enough. Before Luca could respond, the vision vanished, leaving him alone in the suffocating darkness. The next morning brought no solace. A blood-red sun rose over Naples, casting an eerie glow over the Castellani estate. The servants, once bustling with activity, had all fled, save for Marta, the aging housekeeper. She found Luca slumped over his desk in the study, his face gaunt. "Signor Luca, you haven't eaten. Let me bring you something." "No," Luca muttered, waving her away. Then softer, he asked, "Marta, did you ever hear the stories about this house?" Marta hesitated, her knotted hands clutching the edge of the desk. "My mother used to say these walls hold secrets. And that sin," she trailed off, her eyes darting to the cracked ceiling. "That sin does what?" Luca pressed, his voice trembling. "Always comes back," she whispered before scurrying out, leaving him in uneasy silence. By nightfall, the mansion seemed alive again, but not in the way it had during its golden years. Shadows danced along the walls, as if performing some macabre waltz. Luca avoided the dining hall entirely, unwilling to face the ghosts of that fateful evening. Instead, he retreated to the cellar, hoping to find the vintage wine his father had cherished. A futile attempt at distraction. As he descended, the smell of damp earth and mildew overwhelmed him. A faint whisper grew louder with every step. "Why, Luca? Why?" "No!" he shouted, his voice echoing off the stone walls. He reached the wine rack and yanked a bottle free, clutching it tightly as though it could ward off the unseen. The whispers swirled around him, rising into a deafening cacophony. Bottles shattered around him as unseen forces ripped them from the shelves. In a frenzy, he ran back upstairs, his heart pounding like a war drum. When he reached the main hall, he froze. Standing there was his younger brother, Matteo, whom Luca knew to be buried alongside their father. "Matteo?" Luca's voice cracked, disbelief etched on his face. Matteo tilted his head, his expression blank. "Did you think I wouldn't know, brother? That your ambition wouldn't cost me too?" Luca stumbled backward. I didn't mean for you. I only wanted—" "You wanted power," Matteo interrupted, his tone hollow. "And now you'll have it, alone, forever." The chandelier above them swayed violently, its crystal droplets shattering against the marble floor. The house roared with anger, groaning as if it would collapse under the weight of its secrets. Luca sank to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "Please, I'll make it right. Tell me how to make it right." But Matteo merely smiled, a cold, lifeless smile, and disappeared. For the first time, Luca understood the true cost of betrayal. Luca sat on the cold marble floor, his chest heaving as Matteo's ghostly smile lingered in his mind. The mansion seemed to close in around him, its walls breathing as though alive. The sound of footsteps echoed above, slow, deliberate, heavy. He scrambled to his feet, clutching at the banister of the grand staircase, his knuckles white. "Who's there?" he shouted, his voice trembling. The footsteps stopped. The silence that followed was thick like a shroud, suffocating and absolute. "Luca," the voice was different this time, softer, almost melodic. It was a woman's voice. He turned toward the source and saw a figure descending the stairs. Her auburn hair glowed like embers in the dim light, and her dark eyes bore into him with an intensity that sent a chill down his spine. It was Isabella, his cousin, who had been at the table that night. Another ghost returned to haunt him. "You shouldn't be here," Luca whispered, backing away. "And yet here I am," Isabella replied, her voice dripping with a strange mix of sarcasm and sorrow. She stopped midway down the stairs, tilting her head. "Do you even remember what you said to me that night?" Luca shook his head, unable to find words. "You told me to trust you," she continued, her tone growing colder. You said loyalty was everything, but your loyalty only served yourself. I didn't mean for you to... Don't lie to me, she snapped, her voice echoing through the vast hall. The chandelier above them trembled, its chains groaning as if to mirror her anger. You knew what would happen. You planned it all, Luca. I didn't, he cried out, his voice cracking. I only wanted what was best for us, for the family. The family. Isabella took another step forward, her ethereal figure becoming more vivid with each movement. You destroyed the family, one betrayal at a time. Luca staggered backward, his breath shallow. What do you want from me? Tell me how to end this. Isabella's gaze softened, but her expression was no less haunting. There's no ending, Luca. Not for you, not for any of us. Her form dissipated like smoke, leaving Luca alone once more. But before he could process what had happened, a low, guttural growl echoed from the corridor behind him. Luca turned, his pulse racing. The shadows seemed to shift and morph, taking on grotesque shapes that slithered along the walls. From the darkness emerged a hulking figure, one of his father's enforcers, Bruno, who had died violently during a botched raid years ago. His face was disfigured, his eyes burning with rage. Did you think the dead would forget? Bruno's voice was a growl, deep and menacing. Luca stumbled backward, his hands raised in defense. Bruno, please! I had nothing to do with... Liar! Bruno roared, lunging forward. His heavy boots thundered against the floor as he advanced, forcing Luca to retreat toward the dining hall. As Luca crossed the threshold, the room transformed. The long table was set as it had been that night. Crystal glasses, fine china, and the faint aroma of roasted lamb. The laughter of his family echoed faintly, though the seats were empty. Bruno stopped at the doorway, his massive frame blocking the exit. Sit. Trembling, Luca obeyed, lowering himself into the chair at the head of the table, the seat that once belonged to his father. Do you feel it now? Bruno growled. The weight of the crown you stole? The power you killed for? Luca's hands trembled as he gripped the edge of the table. I thought I could handle it. You thought wrong, Bruno interrupted, his voice a thunderclap. And now you'll pay the price. The room began to spin, the walls pulsating like a living heart. The whispers returned, louder this time, overlapping in a chaotic symphony. Father, help me! Luca screamed into the void. But the whispers only grew louder, and the shadows closed in,